Hello, Kevin Laverne here.
Hi.
I was
Hi,
gonna see,
everybody.
I was gonna see if how long it would take unprompted. So yeah, hello, Kevin Laverne. We're both here. I'm gonna use the speaker on my phone for this one. It seems to cut through a little better than the big bassy thing that I normally use.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we'll see. I'm just trying things here. So, I mean, as usual, and now my phone is doing something weird because it's got a touch screen, and if you even look at those things wrong, they're going to betray you. Okay? And but they'll never do what you want them to. So,
Of course not.
that's modern technology, all the modern inconveniences. So,
Yeah, it's good
yeah,
to be here, and I'm looking forward to the show.
yeah, me too. It was a little. We were gonna do one yesterday, and then we're like, we'll put it off till today, and then today came, and it hit hard. And so we're like, oh, we got to do this show though. So I know that Laverne is kind of it's not the best day for her, according to what she said. But so I might have to take the majority of the load, which is what I do anyway with my big mouth. So yeah. So let me see what we got here. I don't think I have anything prepared there, but we have. Oh yeah, I put it into the description this time, you guys. In the video description is something of the plan that we're going to be going by, but also I linked two of the articles that we'll be covering tonight. This is the first time I've kind of gotten you guys the article ready, as before I started, reading off of it. So it's something I should have done before, but I was so disorganized before. And I'm not saying I'm organized now. Don't take this the wrong way, but this is probably more organized than it was before that. The only thing is I don't have that in front of me now, so now I got to look the thing up. Um, I got to watch it like you guys are doing if I can.
We forgive you.
Yeah, I'm trying to pause it. This is terrible, you guys. I'm so sorry. Um, so I can't even find the stuff. I found the video, can't find the comments. So that was a monumental failure. I wish I'd have written the stuff elsewhere. So what we normally do is we check in. So how are you doing, Liver?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't say I can complain. It's been pretty quiet up to about a half an hour ago when I turned on my kitchen faucet. They like to turn on theirs upstairs at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's all that's been. That's the only thing that's been bothering me for about 2 weeks. They've been quiet.
Oh,
So, yeah,
here's my back scratcher, you guys. I don't know if they do that stuff to you, but they make me itch everywhere. There are some places that can't be reached, but this one gets
yeah.
to some of them. So they're difficult. Anyway, you have to keep it right there
Hey,
because they're always on it. But okay, so yeah, looks like unused dismiss. Um, what was I going to say? Okay, so then normally I have somebody that I like to thank, and I'm usually really good about
yeah.
coming up with somebody and putting thought into it. I didn't do that, so it's been a rough week. I've been pulled this way and that way. There's something else that occurred that we'll discuss here in a second, but no, I'm sorry. We're just a little out of sorts. Um, I'm having to, it's been a weird week as far as like normally I can find some sort of a rhythm even if it's a terrible one. This one hasn't been that way, and so that's what's got me a little off kilter. So that's all. But yesterday we might as well get right into that. There was an announcement that was made. I was part of a conference call, um, and we'll cover it now. I want to talk about it a little bit as well, though, because there are some that are not too sure about the situation, and I can understand that. I need to, in my position, I need to cover what's going on, but I also need to be a bit critical and make sure that that everybody's on the up and up. And so the
Right.
bottom line, though, is if everybody is on the up and up, then then a critical look is actually an opportunity to prove oneself. And so I'm going to try to make that very clear as I write, as I cover this. But let me find. So I put out yesterday after coming out of the conference call just a little update about the thing, and I'm so unprepared, you guys. I was really hoping this wouldn't be this bad. I think I sent it to you, Laverne. Let me see.
What's that?
Oh, nothing. I wasn't paying attention either. Don't worry about it.
No,
Okay.
I was paying attention. But you send me so many things,
That's
like,
true.
which one?
So here it is. This is the breaking news thing that I sent out yesterday. I'll read it. New traveling clinics offer scans, surgical referrals, and grafting removal for targeted individuals. A new nationwide initiative aims to provide targeted individuals, TIs, with direct access to medical evaluation, scanning, and treatment options, all in one stop. Announced by Jesse Beltran and the Nexus team, the traveling clinic program will visit cities across the United States, with more locations added if demand and conditions are met. Services include two types of scans to detect anomalies such as implants, medical consultations for TI-related symptoms, surgical referrals when anomalies are confirmed. Now, that's a big one. That's something that it's been difficult to get out of doctors. Then on top of that, access to surgeons ready to perform those removals. They got a scalpel in hand. They can't wait to dig into us. So there's that. It goes on. Beltran speaks about how it's sort of a one-stop shop. And then the biggest thing to me, though, was the announcement about grafting removal. He's speaking about a substance that where he spoke to the designer / scientist who came up with it. He's been using it for a while, so he's not only speaking from an educated standpoint on it, but from actual hands-on experience. My foot's hitting this and shaking it up. Sorry about that. So he's very high on it. He says the results are incredible, and that's a big thing. This is the new technology, what they're doing with the grafting. The old technology is the implants. Now they're addressing both, obviously. But it's a big thing to have something against what they're doing now with the grafting. It's huge. And so, but now let's continue. Before we think this is our savior, let's look at it from all sides. He reports speaking extensively with the product's designer and a scientist, describing the results as exciting and promising. Details on clinic schedules, participating cities, and the grafting removal product will be provided in the coming days. So what I have to do is shoot off an email to them, get as much information as I can. I mean, if they can send me everything they have, I'll take it, and then I'll collate it and figure out what's worthy to add and, boil it down to what matters to us. But so, I mean, I'll get whatever it is I can get. When it comes to the technology, the primary scan that he's offering there, Mr. Beltran, is the RF scan. But he does have another gentleman that he's pairing with. Let me take a look here. Let me bring this up real fast. But and this guy has 4 different scans. Now they have a new scan that is so good that they can read the writing on the implant if there should be any, and they can easily look at the way that it looks and be able to tell you where it came from, who made it, and perhaps even who was behind it. Just from a look at it. I know that's big. Oh. Yeah, so let me see what I've got here. I had to find the info, and I got it here. So it's there's information that goes on about how to get a new stop added. What you need essentially is 7 to 10 people in a particular area. There's contact information, and there's a bit of money that needs to be exchanged. I have something of a schedule on the stops that they're making now. I only put out that breaking news thing. I'm going to get the rest of the information, and I should have it out by tomorrow or the next day. But we need to get on it because they're moving. It's a traveling circus sort of a situation. They're hitting it and quitting it, man. They're showing up into your town and doing some of this stuff and then moving on to the next one.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. How are people going to even know that they're in their town?
Well, they have a schedule here, but
Yeah,
the bottom line is it not very well. I think is because they already came through California, and that's where I'm at. And if I had known, I would have done something about it. So they're like, oh, we already came through California. I'm like, jeez, and now I'm going to try to help advertise for them. So the other guy's name is Dr. John Kingston. He's with AAA Securities. He's a Utah or Texas-based company affiliated with the effort, but not scheduled to attend the clinics as far as I know. But he does offer other scans, up to 4 different types. That's the gentleman I was talking about. The scans include radio frequency or RF scanning, linear or nonlinear scans, sonogram, and a new high clarity scan. The one that they haven't called it a name yet. So we're just referring to it as the new high clarity scan. So that's where that's at. I have several contact points ranging from, let me see, Instagram, Twitter, their own site, Facebook, X, YouTube, Rumble, phone number as well. So I'll be getting the information, getting the skinny on this. I was provided a scan result PDF that was made up by Mr. Beltran, I believe, upon visiting him at one of these traveling clinics. This was the result of it. So I looked at the information. I'm not going to discuss the individual, but there was interesting readings, and I'll include that into the story as well. So there was something that came of it. The corroborating corroborating information is difficult right now because it's new. That's the nature of breaking news, and we all want to corroborate stuff, but if it's new, it's very difficult to do. So that's why I'm trying to get as much done on this as I can. I will try to get off this article or this topic quickly here. The bottom line, though, is that we've gone through a lot, you guys, as target individuals. This is important stuff. I can't sit here and act like, oh, this is the savior to everything. I have to be sure. And I don't want them thinking I'm looking to gift horse in the mouth, but I've got to be critical of this and make certain that we're not being taken for yet another ride. You feel me?
Yeah.
So for the TIs, I might be a thorn in their side for a little while, and hopefully not that long. But as I say, if everything is on the up and up, then this is a perfect opportunity for them to prove it. They should be paying me for it. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
Anyway,
someone in the chat wants to know, how do you get a schedule?
Their schedule?
Yeah. Schedule.
I have it sitting in front of me. I can read it off if you like. I was going to include it in the article, which should be coming out tomorrow or the next day. But if you want to know it right now, I'll just say what's here in front of me. Denver, Colorado, on August 23rd. And there's a contact point. Put in the chat there, since Laverne's watching it, if you want these contact points, I'll give them. Indiana on September 20th. Dallas, Texas on October 25th. Wisconsin and Arizona are to be determined, but they have plans to go there. So that's where we're at there. Now, again, like I say, there are some of the TIs here who have said that they're not certain about this, and we are right to be doubtful of anything that's put in front of us, and I hope that everyone that deals with us can understand that we're not wrong to do that. We absolutely should be doing that, especially in the position that I'm in, dealing with this thing. I hope they don't hate me, but I got to do what I got to do. And so anyways, like I said, I was going to try to get off of that. There it is, you guys. Look for a story in the next couple of days, and I'm hoping to put it all in the story, but it might require a follow-up editorial op-ed, piece. So, but I'm hoping to put it all in one. So we'll see how it works.
Thank you for that, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm starting to think, man. I've walked a pretty good road here as far as being able to keep from being people getting angry at me. I think if you're angry at me, then I guess I'm wrong, and I apologize. But when you're in this position of being the truth teller, there's always in every story there's going to be some that are appreciative of you and some that are not. So
Yeah.
so that's where we're at.
There always going to be a hater out there.
Yeah, and because it's the stories are going to be on them, I don't know that I can blame them too much. I'm not trying to judge anybody. I got to do what I got to do. I'm not going to do anybody wrong. It is what it is. So so that's that, and I'm glad that's out of the way. But I definitely wanted to voice for the people who have their doubts on it, and that's one of the reasons I'm going to go and do what I'm going to do to investigate on it. So there's that. Let's move on to the articles. Unless you had something, I remember you had some things queued up. I'd rather talk about those right away, Laverne.
Oh, yeah, these are some of the things that the TIs may or may not go through, or may or may not have experienced. And I wrote some of them down as I was making my coffee. I got 10 down.
Okay.
And then one of them is the disappearance of things in their houses. When things just go poof, like a big red ball I used to have in my living room.
Yeah.
And I walked in one day, and it was totally gone. I heard there's some type of master key that they can use to get in your apartment, your house.
It seems to be the case. I agree with you. I don't know that it's them that does it. I think I'm boneheaded enough with what they do to me to lose the stuff on my own. But I have a phrase that I say every time this happens, you guys, as you might expect. I do not do anything exotic with my stuff. As I'm looking for, I don't do anything exotic with it. The word exotic always finds its way in there, I don't know what to tell you guys.
Yeah. So,
But,
yeah. That's one thing that they do. I mean, I've had my clothes cut, and
wow. Yeah.
my bras and panties cut, and in heart shapes. So they really sometimes that was the most, I guess you could say, concerning thing that that's happened, other than when I was walking down the street and all the street lights turned off as I walked.
Right.
That was one of them. And with all the targeting that we get, it could lower our self-esteem. I was thinking, because it's happened to me. I don't know how that works, but for some reason, my confidence level has not been where it was before.
That's a really, really good topic.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's something that they do to me. They try to do it to me. Regularly. They used to have more success than they do now. What happened was they just let me go too long, and I saw that I have a lot to be confident about. And so now it's very difficult for them, to be able to find any purchase with that. Sometimes they'll get a little ways, but they have to provide so many things to get even the smallest way. And then I notice it, and I'm able to kind of get myself out of it with a bit of work. But
right.
Yeah, it is a bummer. But maybe
good dodge that bullet, because it's they come at you hard trying to get you to lose your confidence.
Yeah, and it's important. We need the confidence at least to be able to get out, strike out into the world, and do what it is that we need to do.
Exactly.
And so that means that they're going to be doing it regularly, and so that we will have to have a defense for it regularly.
Okay. Yes, that's right. And you have to be strong enough to be able to do that, to create something.
Well, there are some things that I like to do. What is it you do? Do you have anything like at the ready? Some I don't like to call them mind tricks, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mechanisms.
Well, God is always at the ready. He's always there.
Yep.
And, it sounds like almost a cop-out or something, but he truly is my go-to guy. And
Right.
I just pray about it and realize that I've accepted what's happening to me, and so I'm just gonna have to move on. I don't have time to dwell on it. What's happened, and I can't change it.
Hey,
So
can you type in and tell Tina Turner that I can't answer the phone or the thing because we're doing I can't answer the audio call because we're doing a live show.
okay, you want me to type it in there?
Yeah,
Okay,
she's trying to give me a call right now through Facebook.
okay.
I would normally answer for you, Tina. You know that's true. But so yeah, that's a good one. Now, so we have to be able to strike out and get the things done that we need to do. But I think one of the things too that helps. Now, the God thing is a great place to go. One of the things that I think of is that we're God's children. You know, it's not always necessary to match them strength for strength. Instead, what sometimes I like to go into, kind of rush into the arms of God as a protector, and see myself as God's child, and ask Him for
Yes.
protection. And it works really well because you know it's going to come. It's happened. It's already there by the time I've thought it. You know what I mean? I'm already
Right.
there. So it works really well for me. There's other things that I do
Yeah.
in that situation. It's absolutely important. They're always on me. You guys know that they're always attacking my mind, my brain. It's all the
Yeah.
time. And this is one of the main things that they do, is try to chip away at my self-confidence. It's very, very high. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I've got a lot of confidence. And they hate that. Absolutely hate it. But you know what? They caused it. They created the situation in which it exists right now. Not They didn't make me what I am, but they allowed enough leeway, enough of my brain use and ability to live for me to recognize, what was going on, the truth of the matter. So they're full of this. They make so many mistakes. They screw up so much. They're all thumbs, two left feet, and two brain cells. Like that's what I said earlier today about them. Um, yeah, it's amazing. I'll be shocked if there's success with this program. It'll be despite themselves and not because of it, if it does come.
Hmm. Okay.
So yeah, what else did you have there?
Let's see what this is. Well, they used to always put pennies. Every place I went, I saw pennies. They used to put them on my doorstep, down the stairs. As I walked, they knew my routes to the store. They would put a penny there. I even went to Walgreens once, and the lady's ID, in there was a penny. And I don't know what that meant, but
Well, I think I do.
well, please tell me.
There's an old saying, a penny for your thoughts.
Ah,
So they're taking your thoughts and providing the penny.
well, that's what that is all about, huh? Okay, well, they used to put them everywhere, and
So they're taking a lot of your thoughts then.
yes, well, yeah, I was wondering what that was about, so I appreciate that.
You bet.
Another one is, you're not as sharp as you used to be.
Hmm.
I think we covered that in a way. At least some of us are not. I don't think I am. I think I had to surrender a lot of things in my mind, a lot of space that I had in my mind to learn and educate myself, whether it be with learning new things, learning new words, or whatever. I've had to surrender that space into survival.
Yeah.
So,
We all have to make adjustments.
yeah, I can hold on to that.
We all have our own version of that. I can tell you what mine is if you want to hear it.
Sure.
I educated myself. It was a self-education process primarily. What I did was I would study something. I'd get up and I'd see something that I didn't know. So I would study it, and that would lead to something else that I didn't know. So I would study that, and it would be this long line. Well, I did this for years, and eventually things got a lot easier. I started to know a lot of things, and it was a really, really good way to gain an education. So what happened, the way that this presented itself to me was I saw something that I wanted to study, and I didn't do it for the first time. I'm all about learning and studying, and I'm a nerd. It's not a secret. Yeah, and so believe me, that stood out. That stood out so much to me, and then it happened again, and it stood out just as much. Then I'll never get used to that. I'm so used to just studying and studying and studying and learning and learning and learning. And that's a wonderful method. I've discussed this with others about how it's so inclusive because I don't know, it worked well for me. I'm really pleased with that method of education. Autodidactic, I think is what it's called. So,
yeah. I wouldn't be able to tell you if that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But it's a nice word, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's fun, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But I just said I can't do it, and I had to recognize, and I didn't have it in me. I didn't have the brain power, and I didn't have the motivation to do it for the first time in my life. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, another thing I thought I'd write down was appearance. I think we kind of went over that once on one of our shows, but I want to yell out to the people who I'm conversing with or who's coming to visit at my house that this is not the real me. It's because of the targeting,
right.
I look the way I look, and they must be wondering, damn, what happened to her? She used to be so her hair done and everything, and now look at her. They must wonder have I lost my mind or what? So.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I clean up pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. It's something I just don't pay attention to very much. I've got a chipped tooth, as you can see. It's over here. I mean, these, it's not a real tooth anyway. But I was eating bacon and it happened. And so I was going to rush right over and get it fixed. But you know how I am, and if you don't, you're about to find out. I decided I wanted to find out how people would react differently to me. It was a social experiment. I had an opportunity, and so I took it. So I canceled the appointment. And I've been going. I need to go and get it done now, because I've went long enough. But I just wanted to see, and I don't. The results are actually not inconclusive. But I know that my own reaction is I don't mind it all that much. I think it's it separates one. You know what I mean? It's identifiable and characteristic and all that. So I know it's not the most desirable thing, but whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have him put a gold tooth in there to fix it. What do you think about that, Laverne? Give me a gold tooth.
I think that would look good on you, actually.
Yeah, I can rock it.
All right. So I got that one plus. Then that's about it. I just wrote down, a few things that were on my mind.
Yeah.
We can come back to it if we have some time.
You guys, the people that are watching, if you would respond to these things yourself, please, because we want to know. That's a tight community that we have here. This isn't YouTube. I don't have a YouTube audience. They refuse to watch me over there. We have a tight group here at Facebook. So, we want to see what you guys have to say. We know most of you guys pretty well. We've seen you around. We want your opinions. You don't have to, but we'd love to see it. But there's that, and then I guess it's time now to get to the articles. So I do have those, like I say, prepared there for you guys in the description if everything worked out okay, as links. And the first one that we're going to get to is Synthetic Delusions and Silent Control, the Next Generation of Mind Manipulation. This was a well-received article. Okay. This one is my second most read article of all time. Yeah, and it's really, really good. Now, I'm not trying to I'm just saying it was the nexus of several different things. Sorry to use that word, but the hub. Um, it had a bit of like true crime story to it, but it appealed to many different audiences, I guess. There is a simplified version, and I made sure that it had all that kind of stuff in it. Normally, I don't write the simplified version. I let the AI take care of that part. But I still go through it and make sure that it has, because still has to have all the right stuff. It has to have all the important things. And so I do actually take, it never happens without, me going over it and editing. But a lot of the, yeah. So let's take a look let's go with the simplified version. Like I say, I do a pretty good job on those, fixing whatever needs fixing, and because he's all right with it, as is, I call it to him. But it's, so I get in there, I'm going to start from the top of the Part 2, Voices, Visions, and Violence. This is a simplified version of Part 2 in the Voices, Visions, and Violence series. It preserves the full meaning and structure of the original, but uses easier language to make it accessible to readers experiencing cognitive fatigue, like I seem to be doing right now, targeting effects, or unfamiliarity with complex writing. In this first part of the series, we looked at criminal cases where the people involved openly said they heard voices, often telling them to hurt others. Those examples were easy to understand, they were direct, but now we're seeing something more subtle and in some ways more disturbing. Now, I made sure to write these so that they would be universally applicable, meaning they mean something to us as TIs, but it's for normies as well. So I didn't use the terminology that we use, and you'll see things that you like. Perhaps it's something other than just a mental illness, and you're thinking to yourself, "Of course, it's something other than mental illness, right?" But I still had to put that in there for the normies. We're kind of easing them into this, and I think the article did a pretty good job of straddling that, giving us something to have, to look at and read and appreciate, and then giving the normies a kind of weigh in. Yeah. So continuing on, not all manipulation sounds like a voice, and this is one of the ones things I suggested earlier. We hear about voices. The voice told me to do it. Okay, but we know for a fact that they can make us think things. They can manipulate us in all sorts of different ways, and a voice doesn't have to have anything to do with it. And that's an advanced way of manipulating someone. That's advanced mind control. Sometimes it feels like uncertainty, a strong belief that shows up fully formed. It doesn't seem to come from outside. It really doesn't, It doesn't seem to be heard. It just appears in the mind as if it were always there. These are the hard to categorize cases, the ones that don't fit mental health labels. Often the person has no clear reason to act violently, no long history of mental illness. They were doing fine until they weren't. Something gets inserted, not a command, but a framework. Not a hallucination, but a belief that explains itself. If it were just mental illness, it would be easier to ignore. But what if something else is happening? There's that question. We know something else is happening, damn it.
Yes.
Not like others. Some of these people were smart. Others were known for being gentle or spiritual. Some were doing okay in life before their breakdown. They don't always show signs of being unstable. Take Brandon Idolot, for example. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. A bright 17-year-old boy from Florida, no history of violence. Then one day he murdered his own family, or his own mother, that is, in a way so brutal police said it was one of the worst scenes they'd ever seen. He later told officers that voices had been with him since childhood.
Oh, goodness.
Right, or Alexander Hennessy, who stabbed his mother to death after a sudden change in behavior. He told police he felt guided, like something was working through him. Or Aaron Alexis, the Navy Yard's shooter. You remember that story? Who carved the words "my elf weapon" into his shotgun, referring to extremely low frequency waves, which many believe are used in mind control experiments. This is where things get complicated. Not all influence is audible. Sometimes the manipulation doesn't come as a voice. It can be an emotional push, a strange certainty, a shift in thoughts, a belief that forms from nowhere but feels justified. That's how it works when someone is covertly influenced. Now, the way that I recognize it when it's false is, first of all, know thyself, like Socrates said. So if it seems out of character for me, then there's a very good chance it's not legit. Second of all, they can be very ham-fisted with the way they do things. Very lacking grace when they do these things. Essentially, the way that my synesthesia returns it is they're trying to remove something of a certain shape and then replace something in that same exact shape, but they can't replace it with that same exact shape. So it's a different shape, and if we're paying attention enough, we can feel the change. I can always, not always. I don't know how much I miss. We don't know what we don't know. But when I do catch it, I make sure that they know. And then I call them clowns. I call them the clown moment. That's when they're bozos because they went too far. You know what I mean? They revealed themselves. They blew their cover, and now I know what's going on. So, yeah.
This is a good description. I like that.
I mean, I'm telling you, they have to do it every time. And I'm starting to wonder if they're not doing it on purpose just to give me a break. Just to give me something to laugh at. But it's that frequent. So, yeah. Continuing here, though, if a person is technologically targeted with frequencies, signals, or artificial neural stimulation, they might not hear anything. But they might feel an overwhelming urge or become convinced of something that makes no sense to anyone else. Their logic might seem off, their behavior might shift, suddenly or slowly. This makes their actions look like madness, but what if it's manipulation? That question can't be ignored anymore. And I want to bring something up here that is going to be going in an article, but it's extremely important. You guys are kind of getting the skinny early. If it goes through the mind, then they can potentially control it. And basically everything does. So that means that I've shifted the way that I've looked at this so that I can try to be more inclusive on the potential things that they have power over. There's a lot of things that we didn't recognize, but it's time to call these things out. Number one, sex drive and sex, like what it is you're into sexually. That might not be you. There's a very good chance that they're doing that, especially if it's something weird. They can do this, and you will not be able to tell the difference. You're helpless to it. It's just your life. This is what you think this is who you think you are. Radicalization into any situation but religious situations. They can do that. They can radicalize us into a religion, Laverne.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was one other one that I can't think of right now. But it's actually both of these two things, that one and the one that I can't think of, are going to be present in the next story that we get to. But we're just about there, so let me go ahead and finish this one up. I'm getting ahead of myself here. A quick reminder from part one, we've already looked at people like Myron May, who was a early hero of mine, by the way. Rest in peace, Myron May. A former prosecutor who believed he was targeted and shot people at Florida State University before taking his own life. Gavin Long, a Marine who later killed 3 police officers in Baton Rouge after publishing videos claiming he was being targeted. Esteban Santiago, a U.S. veteran who said the government was controlling his mind and making him watch ISIS content. All of them showed signs of being controlled in ways they couldn't fully explain. These are not isolated cases, and they're not all alike, but they do point to a disturbing pattern. The real danger: when violence seems senseless, when there's no clear motive or history, it becomes easier to label the person as crazy and move on. But if something external is guiding them, even partially, if their mind is being shaped, distorted, or nudged, then we need to rethink what violence even means in these cases. These people might still be responsible for their actions, but they also might be victims of something invisible. Some of us believe that this manipulation is real because we've felt it, because we've seen it happen to others, because we've lived long enough to know how minds can be twisted. And if influence doesn't sound like a voice, that only makes it harder to catch. So it's a pretty sneaky thing, and they're good enough, and they've got the technology to pull it off this way now. Just make us like this and hate that. Guide us, one step at a time in this way until, and then make us overzealous about this, see the injustice of that, and next thing you know, you've got yourself a radical on your hands.
There you go. Yeah, there it is. I was just thinking about the brain and the way that we think. If we're hearing the voices and they're telling us to do something that we're know that we're not supposed to do, I'm just putting this out there, why not just ignore the voices? Just a question.
Well, they can be convincing. I don't get the voices. I do get some clicks and sounds and weirdness, but they can be convincing to me without the voices. I think that's what that article is trying to say, by and large. You know, so provide the voices, and now you've really got a problem. Now you're having to resist the forced thoughts. We're having to recognize when they've created a personality for us that isn't actually us, and somehow try to get back to who we really were, and fighting the voices at the same time that are discouraging. So I can completely understand why that would be the case. You know.
Okay. Just a question.
Well, too, I mean, voices have power, don't they? It's part of the human condition to want to match emotions, to want to respond. You know, it's very difficult for people to hear something and not let it affect them on an emotional level, or not let them decide what it is they're going to do or say next. But that's the situation that we're charged with.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. No, you're cool.
I always put myself in the other person's shoes and ask myself, what if I heard a voice telling me, and I don't hear voices either, by the way, but if I heard a voice telling me to go kill someone, I would definitely know that it's not me.
I see what you're saying. That, of course, that thought comes up in my mind too. I mean, if I had a voice constantly telling me to switch to Diet Coke, I wouldn't pay attention to it. I can tell you that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'd probably say, shut up. You know what I mean?
They must get so frustrated because they must, who knows how often that they're telling them that. They might be telling them that throughout the whole day. You know, to kill someone, until that person gets so fed up that they go out and do it.
Well, I think it's a fallacy, though, to suggest that that's all that would have been done to begin with. These change of their thoughts absolutely would have accompanied that. You know, so it's never that's how they explain it. But we can't look at their explanation as the full explanation of what occurred. That doesn't make sense. So yeah, they heard voices, and so they did this thing. But we need to look beyond that and see what actually. We know for a fact that they changed their opinions and got them radicalized, or took their emotion out of it, or did what was necessary to make the job happen.
Yes,
for the individual.
That's a good way of putting it.
So, yeah.
Because they can do all of that. Yeah, right, there we go.
So I remembered what the third thing was, you guys. In this next story that we're going to do, it's very important. A woman sent me her story for me to cover. A very brave woman, and she lives abroad, and is between Asia and the Middle East, in that area. But she believes that her basically, how would I put this? Her targeting rights were transferred from Iran to Russia. And she has a testimony about what makes her think that, and everything. So we're about to cover that right now in the article that I wrote, that I entitled "From Russia with Frequency: One Woman's Very Revealing Letter of Struggle with Transnational Targeting."
Wow.
Yeah. Of course, I stole a James Bond title there. From Russia with Love. From Russia with Frequency. Thanks for putting up with it. So, author's note, before anything else, I want to thank the woman whose story is printed below. Her willingness to share this, despite the danger, despite the pressure, despite the isolation, is an act of profound courage. She is not only surviving the unthinkable, but daring to speak about it. Her decision to submit this account, even anonymously, is a quiet form of resistance, because you know that they know what she's doing. It reminds us that truth can still move through impossible channels, that the signal still gets out. To her, your voice matters, your pain is not invisible, and this peace exists because you chose to tell the truth when it would have been easier to stay silent. I would have included her on this video, but I don't believe that she speaks English. I had to do translation from Cyrillic for the purposes of the article. So it starts, there are few cases that illustrate the evolution of targeting with the same clarity or quiet horror as a woman that wrote to me. A Belarusian woman with no known political involvement, she found herself drawn into a program that began not with threats or surveillance vans, but with something that appeared deeply human, religious literature. In 2004, she reached out to an Iranian radio station, Voice of the Islamic Republic of Iran, to request Islamic books through a program simply known as Mailbox. It was a small act of spiritual curiosity. That's all it took. What followed was not spiritual enlightenment, but cognitive manipulation. According to her, she entered an altered emotional state, not by conviction, but by imposition. She describes it as becoming, quote, obsessed with Islam. Not through belief, but through an engineered psychological condition. Alongside this came surveillance, pressure to engage, and when she refused, an open phase of psychological experimentation. This is where her story diverges from the typical target individual narrative, because in her case, the religious component wasn't incidental. It was the entry point, the first interface. This process, the artificial installation of beliefs, the gradual emotional manipulation towards violence, the creation of a point of no return, matches a broader pattern we've explored in Murder by Proxy. I don't know if you guys remember that one, but in that article, we analyzed a series of cases where individuals were pushed toward violent acts by external psychological influence. This woman's account mirrors this structure almost perfectly, except in her case, the programming failed. Please bear with me here.
Okay.
I'm going to need just a second.
Okay.
Talk amongst yourselves. No, I'll only be a second here, but I need to do this now while I'm looking at it. Okay, so here we go. Continuing. Her account mirrors this structure almost perfectly, except in her case, the programming failed. That failure gives us something rare, a survivor's view of the system before the breaking point. Yeah, that failure, the programming failed. So they tried to get her, had a lot of success to some degree, but she managed to resist, and resist with success. So it gives us a survivor's view of the system before the breaking point. What came next redefined the game entirely. In 2022, she reached out online to what appeared to be another victim, a Russian man discussing psychoterror via platforms like something I can't pronounce, I'm guessing it's Russian, and YouTube. After making contact, something changed. Not just emotionally, but operationally. She describes it as a complete program switch. The nature of the psychological manipulation became more refined, more technologically complex. The themes shifted. Her internal states were being worked through as if someone was using her as a sandbox for emotional AI. Where the Iranians had focused on emotional leverage, the Russians, she says, are working on something altogether more advanced, training a program to simulate and control human experience. She calls it an avatar, a model being built from her mind, trained to mimic her responses, simulate her emotions, and ultimately override her identity. And this isn't theoretical. She says they are actively replaying recorded negative emotions to push her towards suicide, often accompanied by mockery, a cruel parody of empathy twisted into control. This sounds familiar to some degree, maybe not exactly that way, but they certainly take experiences I have, record them, and then paste them back on me whenever they feel like it. If I stub my toe, they'll take that and give me toe pain, when that exact same pain. Depression, they can reproduce that, and they can probably just come up with their own version. They probably don't need to record it and paste it back on there again. But yeah, they do that sort of thing. I think that's what she's talking about. The way she's describing it is interesting. I would like to speak to her more and have her describe this avatar, what she means by that, so I can have a better understanding of it.
Yeah, I can see why you would like to do that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say this. She's clearly very smart. Like, really. I believe that she arrived at the majority of this on her own. So highly, like, she's not only smart, but she's very self-aware. And Yeah. So, and then judging by, her words here, she's very self-possessed as well. She's a hell of a woman, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
So,
Thank you for all the credit. Thank you for all the credit it's due.
right. And thank you to you if you do manage to get this translated into Russian. It's clear by her, I'm going to go ahead and continue. It's clear by her account that this is no longer about surveillance. It's about interface. It's about shaping the self from the outside in and tracking how far the human mind can be nudged before it breaks. It's about radicalizing individuals for religious purposes. It's about pilfering through the citizenry and deciding which box they will go in.
Okay.
I still remember when I wrote that. It's still like reverberating. It's one of those moments, you know? Yeah, pilfering through the citizenry and deciding which box they will go in.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. Now, clearly they're terrible at it, right? There are. I mean, it seems like the majority of us, if not all of us, have some sort of an extra skill or ability, or maybe several. We stand out in some way. They should have been able to figure out a way to make use of us, but they weren't able to. And so this is one of the things where I'm like, I'm sorry, dude, you're not convincing me that you're going to make a success out of this. You're making too many stupid mistakes. It's just really bad. I mean, they turned Amy Eskridge into an enemy. Are you freaking serious? They do not know how to choose enemies. I can say that. And there are plenty of others, geniuses, etc. But moving on here. The most disturbing element, though, is what her case implies about the broader structure. It suggests an internal architecture of targeting where different nations may run interoperable psychological systems with handoffs between them, and where faith itself is weaponized not as a belief but a behavioral exploit. Now, the two things that were new about this story that I'd never seen before was the radicalization into a religion and handing off between two countries. This article is very important as a result of this story. Her story. Her story shows us that belief, especially religious belief, can be used as an entry vector for psychological experimentation. That religious fanaticism can be synthetically induced to initiate behavioral compliance. And once that door is open, more advanced systems, emotional replication, AI-driven persona control, avatar modeling are introduced. In her case, I'm going to look into this avatar modeling thing more, you guys, just so you know. In her case, Iran brought the emotion, Russia brought the technology. Together they brought her to the brink of madness and death.
Sure.
Her parents died during this time, one of heart failure, one of stroke. She believes their deaths were not incidental. She believes they were too influenced, albeit less obviously. Whether or not their passing was engineered, it added another layer of psychological pressure. Grief as collateral damage in a war without battle. Now, I don't know if you guys have experienced grief as TIs, but they attacked me when I was at my mother's funeral. They have no sympathy. They're not going to back off in those moments. They find them an opportunity.
I can't say I've experienced that.
I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you.
She is not alone in suffering, but she is nearly alone in understanding what she's been used for. In this story, she is not just a victim. She's an unwitting interface in a system that is learning to think through its targets. Her explanations mirror that of other TIs, only she's all the way over in Russia. There may come a time when she is silenced entirely, but for now she's speaking and we are listening. Now, I did have an additional detail that she had added after the story had already broke, after I'd already published it, and so I added it as an edit. An additional detail from our brave lady from August 7th, 3 days ago. After the initial draft of this article was completed, our brave lady shared a small but revealing memory about how the Islamic literature from Iran was delivered to her in the early stages of her targeting. The method raises serious questions about logistical obfuscation and behavioral control. Logistical means traveling, getting someplace from one place to another. Obfuscation means just making things, covering up the facts, sort of, trying to cover things up. So that's what they did here. They tried to cover up where some of the stuff had come from. So what she said is this, quote, "When they sent me literature from Iran, they did it in an interesting way. After receiving the package, I threw away the wrapping and tore off the label with my name and address. Underneath it, I found another shipping label addressed to someone else in the city of Minsk, which is not where I live. It looks like the Iranians sent the package to that address first, then had it forwarded to me. They never allowed me to speak about this online. I was only able to share it after I happened upon a video of a Russian man describing similar experiences. And I finally reached out to him. I hope this helps someone, she says. This detail might seem minor, but in the context of covert psychological operations, it speaks volumes. The use of an intermediary address suggests deliberate masking of the delivery chain. Combined with enforced silence and isolation, it paints a clearer picture of how our brave lady was not only monitored, but conditioned to remain quiet until the psychological grip began to loosen through peer connection.
Wow.
That's crazy, huh? That's a hell of a story.
I don't know how she maintained her sanity through it all.
I don't either. She's a hell of a woman. And she never once does she talk about a significant other or any other family. She refers to herself as if she's just like some, lone column of marble that can't be knocked down. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I really liked that. I mean, we can get a lot from her, and her strength and also there's a lot of information to be gained. Now, one of the main things I learned from that article is that I should have seen that radicalization into a religion was possible, and that handing these things off between nations was a potential possibility as well. There's no reason for me not to be able to sit down and see these things as write all this out. It's just laziness is what it is, and I apologize. So I'm going to sit down and do the mind thinking, the thought experiments that's required to flesh all this stuff out, because it's, what we're talking about is I was waiting for cues instead of taking the initiative to follow the things that the brain controls, because that's where I have to go. I have to go there and recognize what it is that the brain deals with, and every single one of those things can be they can screw with, they can mess with it, and so I haven't done that yet. It's a stupid thing. I can't believe I've never done it. It seems like something you do on day one, right? But I guess that's the power of targeting.
That's it. It takes over.
You guys notice how big my hands are? I hadn't said anything until now, but I have mannerisms and move them around, but they're so big, man.
Yeah, they're not big, they're huge.
Yeah, they're right. Which suggests another biological aspect, which is not untrue. But I mean, it just it's funny because I keep doing this, and what it reminds me of is Arsenio Hall. You remember how big that guy's hands were? His fingers went on like forever. They were almost infinite.
I didn't notice. I didn't.
Yeah, it was. They were so freakishly big. It was one of those things that made you go,
Okay. Well,
So,
yeah.
Chris Rock too.
Chris Rock. Okay,
Yeah, they can reach things far, far away.
Okay.
Just with their fingers, I think. Prehensile capacity that we can only dream of.
Yeah. I like noticing things like that.
Yeah, I can't help it. The details jump out at me. I kind of record it all. So we're closing in on an hour.
Oh, okay.
See, you did great, Laverne. You did great. I took over like I usually do, and I apologize.
No, that's okay.
I get excited about this stuff. I mean, I'm not happy that these things are happening, but I do get excited. I like the thrill of a live show. I understand why Saturday Night Live still happens and why performers talk about it. I'm not a performer, but I like the situation that it puts us in.
Yes.
So, and that gets me excited for this show. And plus, they hype me up. Just so you guys know, this is not how I was today. Today, right before the show, I've been down, barely able to kind of get around, and there was a set ceiling on my thought process. I couldn't get past, so I had to go through the day with that. And this happens a lot to me. For a long time, they didn't do that. They keep trying to change things up. They'll turn me into something so that they can try to break it down. But the problem with that is that they can let me see that I am something, but then they have a hard time trying to convince me otherwise. So they don't know what they're doing yet. I don't think, So
Yeah.
I don't know. You have anything to add here, Laverne? I know I've been talking, but I want to give you the stage for a little while.
No, other than to thank you for presenting those articles. Like you said, I think we'll get a lot out of them if we, just take our time to read them and go over them, and to if we're really listening, and I'm sure we are.
Now,
To you,
if you
push them out.
okay, if you guys decide that one of my articles requires a simplified version and it doesn't have it, please let me know. I'll get right on. Okay.
Okay.
So, because what I'm trying to do is, get the information to the TIs. That's what matters. I get caught up in how I am, and I don't tend to realize that maybe that some of the things I put on aren't so easily understood. Like, and then I can make the mistake too. Like some of the pieces I put out, I think, well, this can be understood by all, and I'm just wrong. So there are some, but sometimes they're not TI related. If I can talk about one of those real fast, there's an article I wrote that you guys might find interesting. It's called Michelangelo's Two Masters. It's an interesting. Let me start off the thing because it's funny. It's a slightly comical piece. The subtitle says it's about how he's portrayed on the Sistine Chapel by Michelangelo, Adam, that is. When they're because it says, the Sistine Chapel, the one where God and Adam look like they're accusing each other of something, because they're both looking at each other and pointing. But this one says, everyone who's supposed to have a belly button, take one step forward. Not so fast, Adam. Because he wasn't born in the tradition he was created. And yet Michelangelo gave him a belly button. So the article is very easy to read. It's fun, I think. If you guys want to look for that one, it's in my WordPress. And it's a jaunty little tale.
Okay.
It tries to look at why he would have done something like that, because it wasn't a mistake. Very smart man, very, very aware of where he was at the time and what he was doing and who he was painting. So it goes into the reasons why he might have done something like that, and it comes down to the conclusion that perhaps he was serving two masters. Something the Bible warns against, right? But anyways, it's fun. So I guess I think that we're done. I think that we've come to the end of this wonderful, wonderful video, if it's wonderful at all. If it's one wonderful, it's two wonderfuls. I decided. Yeah.
Well, we're done.
There's got a pair. They come in pairs, So I guess we'll say goodbye to you guys. Let me bring the video up there. Now I can actually do it. All right. So let him give him your parting wishes and all that.
Yes. I pray that everyone stays safe and can handle the targeting that they put out on us. And I really appreciate you sticking around for the show. So.
Yes, thank you guys. Thanks for coming. As long as you keep watching, we'll keep making them, right?
Exactly. That's kind of what I was going to say.
Oh, you are?
All right, so bye, and I'll see you next time.
Yes, and then also, just so you guys know, I will be getting that article out as soon as I can. It might take a day, might take two, might take three. I'd rather be late and have it right than be early and have it wrong. So, anyways, God bless the TIs, and take care, everyone.